Hello and welcome back to the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce check-in conversations during this COVID-19 period. I'm Lisa Duvall, the marketing manager for the Chamber, and I'm here today with Walter Ramsey, the town planner and conservation agent for the town of Montague. Welcome, Walter.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, everyone.
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Walter sent out a revision of the Turners Falls Downtown Livability Plan, which is a really interesting document. It's full of great planning and strategic thinking and really instrumental in the health of the downtown. And I'm wondering why you chose to send that out now, and what can we learn from a document like that right now?
Sure, Lisa. So in 2013, the town adopted the Downtown Turners Falls Vision Plan. It's a vision by the community of itself for what it wants to do over the next 5, 10, 15 years. That plan has been instrumental in helping the town get funding for a lot of important projects like the skate park, downtown streetscape improvements. It helped pave the way for the revitalization of the Shea Theater that you've been involved with. As well as allowing a lot of businesses to come into town and a lot of properties to be fixed up. So it's been a successful plan, but that was 7 years ago. So this fall, working with my assistant planner, riverculture director, Suzanne Lamonto, we decided that it was time to do an update of that plan. And in February, we held a public session to talk about what's changed in the last 7 years. How far have we come? What do we still need to work on? We put a lot of time and effort into this planning session. It was a great day-long event. Over 85 people were there. Then we did another session with the Brick House to talk with youth in the community, engage them in the planning process. And it was a lot of good planning work that we were just wrapping up when this whole COVID closure hit. We had a few extra hours to come up to finalize the report. And we felt that it was important to share that report with the community, to let them know that progress is still being made and that there is still a clear vision for the downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those those are still relevant, even though we're in very uncertain times and we don't know what the future looks like in many ways. But we do know that there's still a vision in place, and that gives something for the community as a whole to aspire to. So that was important to put out there as a forward-thinking document in a time where so many people are concerned with survival, being worried about finding payroll if you're a business or food or rent for yourself. It's hard to think about planning, but there are still people thinking forward about how to get us out of this this predicament that we're in.
Yeah. When you first came to your job, we were coming out of a recession, and you did a lot of interesting planning, and then there were some really good years, and now it looks like we might be headed back into one. How do you think about the town in regards to that?
Yeah, I started in 2010 when you were still working with the town as the riverculture director. We were working on a lot of cool projects then. You're right, the town was just kind of turning the corner out of that recession. It takes a little bit longer for communities in like Franklin County communities to come out of a recession. Traditionally, the cycles have been a little bit slower out here. And actually, in Montague, the recession was prolonged by the closure of the Montague Bridge. Remember, we had that closed for 4 years between 2010 to 2014. So not only were we trying to come out of a recession, but we also had the bridge closure. And so it was a little extra challenge for Montague. So I can kind of remember the day that things started to open up for Montague. And it was the day, I think an April day in 2014, with the Montague Bridge opened back up and there was a celebration. That opened up the floodgates for Montague to really come out of that last recession. Now that was a unique challenge, and the community got through that wonderfully. I think within a year, really within 2 years, all the storefronts were filled back up and town was booming and bustling, and there was a lot of great projects going on, and we were building the skate park. So the town did really good job coming out of that recession. Um, and the last 5 years have been good times for the community. It's been a struggle, but budgets have been growing, and it's been good as a whole. But yeah, we're probably looking at another recession coming on.
In times,
Thankfully, go
go
ahead.
on. In times like these, how do you get the community together? And maybe you can explain a little bit about what is a planner. And not every town has a planner,
Yeah.
but town planners are really instrumental in creating visions and plans to follow. I personally, when I was at River Culture, I most of my work stemmed from the planning documents that the town had.
Mhm.
So in a time like this, how do you get the community together, and how do you get the players together to strategize about how to move forward?
Yeah, well, using the last recession as an example, Montague did a lot of planning when there weren't as many resources to go around for construction projects and private development, but we did plans. We did the downtown master plan in 2013, extensive community outreach. We did a vision for how we want to come out of this thing and what type of investments we want to make as a municipality, what type of infrastructure we want to invest in, like skate parks and sidewalks, things like that. What type of businesses do we want to have? Uh, a recession is a great time to do planning. We also did an open space and recreation plan during that time that set the community's vision for how we want to develop, and we were able to put hundreds, almost 1,000 acres of land into protection that'll help shape kind of how the community develops for generations moving forward. We also did a green communities plan to reduce our energy use, which also reduces our energy costs, so that the next time we come into a recession, we are in a better position because we're using less energy. So it's a good time to do planning and to engage the community and think constructively and creatively about how we move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is it that planners do? So on a most basic level, I provide staff support to the planning board, that is a permitting agency for new developments. And we review all new developments that come into the town for consistency with the community's vision. So to that effect, we do community plans, engaging the community to come up with statements and visions and goals as to how we want to develop. Do we want to invest in our downtown? Do we want to save our farmland? What's our priority? And how do we rank those? In any given project that comes to town, we review and try to, through the permitting process, shape to be consistent with that vision.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know there were other parts to that question. Did that answer it?
Um, yeah, I think you answered basically what it is, because I think when people hear that there's a town planner, they don't really understand what it is and know what it is, but it's
Yeah,
really so important to a town.
yeah. And in a community like Montague, we do a lot of de community development work and grant writing specifically for
Hmm.
underserved community. We do a lot of grant writing to ensure that there's public infrastructure projects that support our vision. For example, right now we're doing a complete streets project with sidewalks that are being done throughout the community to connect elements of our sidewalk system that are disconnected from the others. We're filling in gaps in our network.
Yeah.
And that's an example of a project that's being led by a planner. Where traditionally might fall under a DPW, but they're not out there actively looking and working with the community to identify gaps in a sidewalk connection, or to envision why we'd want to put a sidewalk down First Street to our riverfront bike path and make a connection there. That's really what planners play a role, is kind of seeing the big picture and filling in
Yeah.
the gap.
Right. And I think the other part of the question was about engaging the stakeholders and engaging different groups in town about getting them together, because it's not really your vision, it's
Right.
everybody's vision. And I think that's what, and in fact, maybe that was why you're really good at that. And the 2013 Livability Plan won an award from the National American Planning Association, right, of the best planning project of 2013. Can you talk a little bit about why it was so exemplary?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It won that award from the Massachusetts chapter of the American Planning Association because of its extensive community outreach and engagement. This was a plan that was being led by the community for the community. It was not being led to allow a specific development, or a developer was not behind this. This was a proactive approach that the community made, and it, we did some. We went above and beyond what a traditional community outreach component is. We went into the schools and did sessions with high school students to talk about what their vision is and what the community could do to help make their lives better and help them want to stay in the community. And we also did a session with our Spanish-speaking community, working with our partners at the Montague Catholic Social Ministries. We held focus groups in Spanish to engage that population that is traditionally does not involved in government, let alone planning-related activities. So we're able to hear from a broad range of constituents in the community, not just the people that show up at public meetings. Having food helps get people there, but any meeting you have, you're only going to collect a certain segment of the population. We were able to go above and beyond that and incorporate that into a vision that was tangible and has proven successful for the downtown on a whole.
Yeah. And I know from looking through the plan, there is a public art component to it. And I know Suzanne has been reaching out to the community about, there was a plan, like we all have our plans, and then COVID-19 happened, and then we all relook at our plans.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there's a lot of conversation now happening within the business community of how to shift that public art idea to something that will bring people together and make them feel supported in a special way. And I think that's really what public art is good for doing. And it's a great way for people to get involved and to feel like invested in the outcome and in how to address a challenge in a creative way. And you know, it's not a great situation we're in, but I'm always amazed at how creative people are and the really like great things that come out of it.
Right. I am excited to see the art that comes out of this for sure. Um, I know, yes, Suzanne and I are working on some type of program for public art, but we're just kind of waiting for the timing to be right to release
Yeah.
it.
I've seen a bunch of emails back and forth of business owners saying like, let's address X, Y, and Z in context of what's happening. So
Yeah, it's hard to get meaningful engagement right now, especially with, like I said, when people are considered about their own business survival. They can't put much time and thought into creating art or working with collaborating with the town on a public art project right now. That's the challenge. So we will release something when the timing is right, when it's appropriate. Um, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We're hoping on some of the restrictions being loosened and allowing people to be out and walking around some more in the next few months. And we're talking about maybe setting up a social distancing meetup space, having some chairs out in a public area where people can meet. And it's an organized space, a place you know you can come and talk to some people in a safe manner. That's one of the ideas that's going around, as well as doing some hiring some artists to do some murals around town on some specific spots. That's a way to help support some of the existing artists in our community that are struggling right now, by giving them an infusion of cash and beautifying our town. But again, there's a little bit of planning that needs to go into work before we announce a program like that.
yeah. Yeah, I noticed in the document there, a lot of it was tailored around bringing people together and big events, and now we're all having to rethink that or rethink what coming together means in a safe way. So I think that's, you know, fertile ground for ingenuity.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
What if not all towns have planners? What if people have ideas for their own town, or they have issues that they want to address, or an interesting idea? Um, where can they go? Should they just call the town and get directed, or do you have any advice for people
Hmm.
who have
Yeah,
ideas for their own towns?
yeah, yeah. Every town has that person that you call that'll help connect you if you have the right idea. Montague, I think, is very much a community that likes to work with you. Whatever idea you come and bring to the table, we'll work with you and try and figure out how to make it happen. Whether it's a crazy event or a development project that's not traditional. Um, it's You got to find that person in each community that's able to take your idea and run with it.
Yeah,
And not every community, each community is different. So it's tricky. I don't know if I have a
yeah,
specific recommendation there. For planning related issues, the Franklin Regional Council of Governments does cover all of the Franklin County towns, and they have some really great staff there that's
yeah.
very capable. And that's always one of the first places that I point people to when they have questions.
And
But
they can always call the chamber, and we can help connect people throughout the county on issues that really deal with everybody.
that's exactly right. Yep. The chamber is also a great resource.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, and people can just call each other and talk. Other communities call me, for example, for help on random things like starting up. We recently installed some EV charging stations in town, and we had to sort that through, figure out what that means for a municipality to start up this program. And always willing to share information on that. I've helped counsel 3 or 4 other small towns how to get through that process. So, we're all in this together. So we all just need to keep
yeah,
talking to each other, and yeah, no need to reinvent the wheel on our own.
yeah, yeah. We can definitely all learn from each other, and people can find this document online, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So the livability plan check-in document is posted on the town website, and
Which,
we're going to be printing out some hard copies as well. You can get through the planning office or through our local library.
yeah,
The town's website's montague-ma.gov, and it'll be
yeah.
front and center on on the page.
Great. Well, I'm really glad that you're still moving forward and thinking about how to address this and how to pick pieces that are still relevant and still move forward.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. I'll say that people are still moving forward with projects. We have some expansion going on up at the industrial park right now. Some businesses are faring better than others. People are still looking at building homes out here, and I even speculate that we might even see a small boom as far as small towns are concerned of people leaving the cities in the density around them coming out of this. So who knows what the future looks like, but the thing is that we need to be ready for whatever that future does look like. And I
Yeah.
think we're well on our way to being able to do that.
Yeah, yeah. From a tourism perspective, at the chamber, I know we're thinking that we're going to have a lot more driving traffic this
Mm.
year. People aren't really going to be flying, but they are going to be wanting to leave the cities and come and,
Yeah,
you know, have weekend trips and day trips.
yeah. We should market the Mohawk Trail again, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I've been talking to Walter Ramsey, the town planner in Montague, about the revision of the Turners Falls Livability Plan. Thank you again, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. Stay well, stay healthy.